to last Saturday's ARCS session of our reconciliations compliance, where we have taken up the reconciliations compliance module of Oracle ARCS. Today we'll be going through an overview of the transaction matching module. So as in the, I'll just get a synopsis of the last whole session in 2 minutes. In the past session, we had seen that Oracle ARCS Cloud actually helps many of the companies. It is actually it has come for the rescue of many of the companies who struggle with their month-end close reconciliations processes. It automates and streamlines the reconciliation process, and thereby it helps the companies to perform this whole process faster, efficiently, effectively, and channelizing their interest, energies, and intellect towards more important tasks. So today we'll be looking upon the transaction matching module. ARCS Oracle ARCS application comes in a dual module feature, that is a reconciliations compliance and transaction matching module. So today we'll be looking upon the transaction matching module. Yes, I'm so sorry. So ARCS application is a cloud counterpart of the ARM, that is the Accounts Reconciliations Manager. And Oracle ARCS application, as I have already informed you, that it comes in a dual module, that is reconciliations compliance and the transaction matching module. Transaction matching module is basically a reconciliation platform with pre-built configuration and adherence to industry's best practices in reconciliation. Most of the companies actually struggle with inefficient, time-consuming, manual-intensive reconciliations processes due to complex transactions. Look, every transaction into the companies is connected, and let's not connected, if broken down, contains quite lot many parts. Let's say a basic sales transaction, it contains a part of invoice, the date, amount, customer's name, customer ID in your company, and entity ID if you are having a B2B transaction, your tax compliances, your tax codes, and so many things. So a single even tax transaction is connected, and if broken down, it comes down to so many parts. So every transaction into the company is outcome of so many parts, small parts. When we just join them, it forms a total transaction into the company. So this whole transactions, when I am performing the reconciliations into my company at my month end, quarterly, weekend, it totally depends on the type of organization and the scale of organization that you are. But when you're performing the reconciliations, you reconcile the balances, and along with that, most of the times, let's say bank and cash, intercompany transactions, these are the two very basic transactions that most of the companies nowadays have. The accounts payable, accounts receivables transactions, these transactions actually, when into the reconciliations process, you need to compare the balances also, and along with that you match the transactions. The main motive of your matching the transaction is that whether both the transactions, though the amount is same, reconciliations compliance helps me if the amount is same, so that means that has been reconciled. But transaction matching says that if I have two transactions of $5,000, then whether both the transactions have been aligned to the right customer, to the right invoices, to the right date, and there are so many parts to the transaction, so the alignment of all those amount is correct and accurate into my systems. So this is why transaction matching is also important into companies reconciliation process. And transaction matching is a module within the Oracle ARCS application that has inherited the feature that facilitates preparation and review of the reconciliation. Reconciliation, when you're preparing, you start with the transaction matching, you end it with the balance comparison, balance explanations, and you end the whole reconciliations process. So when we are looking upon transaction matching, this is my workflow. So now, why is transaction matching important? When you're working in a, even an MSME, let me just not put large companies into it, but even when I'm working for MSMEs nowadays, since we have gone global, the area has grown so much. When we are working into the industries have grown so much that even MSMEs, that is small, mediums, micro industries or companies, they are working at small scale, medium scale industries. They also have millions of transactions, lakhs of transactions into their monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly basis. They face monthly, quarterly, millions of transactions that they have into their books, and hence transaction matching modules actually helps me to automate these high volume labor intensive reconciliations, to automate it and actually integrate the results with my reconciliations compliance. I'll give you a very simple example. When I am performing reconciliations of account A and account B, I'm not taking any name. Just take an example. There are two accounts, account A and account B, into my books. The balance of account A is 10,000 and the balance of account B is 12,000. Now I have, on balance comparison, I got to know that there is a difference of $2,000. But transaction matching, now let's say this 10,000 and $12,000 amount is of 50,000 transactions, is a result of 50,000 transactions, let's say. So finding 2,000, a difference of $2,000 into into 50,000 transactions is very time taking, tedious, monotonous job, and is prone to human errors. For a human can skip small details. Of course, errors can be made when humans are performing a task. So error, it can be an error prone reconciliation also, and that is the reason where transaction matching comes into my picture of reconciliation. Transaction matching will help me to find out that 2,000 difference in those 50,000 transactions and give me the results, as in these are the transactions which, due to which a discrepancy, a difference is arising into your books. So I have what I've got from this transaction matching, integrated with my reconciliation compliance. I got the transactions also in which I need to perform, perform the correct balances or whatever is the reason for my differences. I'll have to explain and everything about the transaction. I've got that those transactions also which I need to correct, and I've got the balance for each transaction that needs to be corrected. So at the end, my balance will reconcile. So this is how transaction matching, when integrated with my reconciliations compliance, will help me. Now the key benefits, like as in the benefits of my transaction matching modules, no remodeling is required, as in you do not need to uh, change or may restructure your whole accounting process. You can even upload your balances through a flat file. Of course, there are various data sources that can be uh, made, that can be done, but no remodeling, as in remodeling a total new structuring. You do not need to do that for your Oracle ARCS transaction matching or account reconciliations software inheriting. It totally merges with your existing files, ERP systems, whichever you are using. The reason, you can even load your data through flat files. Now, uh, since no remodeling is required. So data integration and authorization is also easy. Data has been integrated and authorization in the way only that person who is authorized to view that account balance and that account transaction can only view those. So only authorized personnel of your team, of your finance team, or of your management team can only view that. The reason everyone have their own ID and passwords, only those people will look into the and you can assign that these are the accounts that will be visible to this specific person, this specific personnel. So that actually helps in keeping your data secured. An evolved reconciliation process, of course we have seen that it is evolving from the past ways of reconciliation, where I used to use my spreadsheets to reconcile my processes. But here I am reconciling my balances, reconciling every part of my transaction. Every specific part of my transaction is getting reconciled, is getting matched. So even invoice number, let's say my there is no problem with the amount and date, but a small number into my invoice is also getting checked, whether my invoices have been put up correctly or not. Now when downsizing the closure process, in the sense that now I'm matching the transaction, matching the reconciliations process with the using the technology of the new generation technology, and hence it is actually curbing the whole process of my reconciliation that is performed at the end of my month. Every month end it is performed. Yes. So every at the end of every month, I am performing this reconciliation process, and this reconciliation process with the help of my ARCS application is performed just by at the click of my mouse. The only thing I need to do is import data, perform reconciliation, uh, click on the auto match of my application, and my reconciliation has been completed for an account within 5 to 10 minutes, which used to take 5 to 10 days when I used to form with Excel spreadsheets. Then when I come to my transaction matching module provides me with auto match rules. We'll be looking down at we'll be looking upon what is auto match rules. But just to give an overview, auto match rules, I have defined the rules that will through which my matching is going to take place between account A and account B. Again, I'm not taking any names for my account. I'm just providing with account A and account B. So I have defined rules, as in amount matches exactly with of account A and account B, date matches exactly. So a simple way of performing my transaction matching, I'm going to click on I'm going to auto run, and it is going to match. I do not have to manually match those transactions. It is going to match just by taking those rules. The rules have been set. If it falls within the criteria that has been set, it is going to match. If it is not, it is going to give me that these are the unmatched transactions into the files that you've uploaded, into the data that you've uploaded into the from the data sources. So I'll be able to get a view of what are the transactions that haven't matched. Then improve accuracy. Improving the accuracy means that my when my write off on the balances, will the balance explanations, unexplained balances, writing of my unexplained balances, they will be curbed. That means my financial statements will be more accurate. I'll not have any unexplained differences, as in if there is an amount of $1,000, $2,000, when I'm dealing in millions and billions, an amount of 2,000, 1,000 will also be not there, because when we come down to practical ways of performing our financials, it is only the pennies that take the most room when I'm matching and reconciling the balances. Because usually the big balances actually match. It's just the small pennies that lead so much time when I'm into my closure process. So the accuracy is guaranteed. We are improving on the accuracy. So we've seen on what is transaction matching. Now let us just get an overview how this thing works, and after this we'll be looking upon all of this on my application. So the first part that we'll be looking on is my when as an administrator. Let us start from the administrator's point of view. The reason, because from the administrator's point of view, we'll be setting up the module, and the next part from the coming months will be just to import into that set criteria and perform the reconciliations. So we'll be looking it from the administrator's point of view. Now, when I'm looking it from the administrator's point of view, transaction matching module of my Oracle ARCS actually involves setting up or creating certain tasks that needs to be performed for the purpose of my transaction matching. So my first step requires is to creation of the match types for reconciliation. Creation of the match type. So we'll be looking as in what are match types. But I'll tell you, match types is where you provide that these will be my data sources for my particular reconciliation, and these will be the rules with which my data sources amount or invoice or whatever is going to match. You provide these sources match rules, and if these two do not match, two amounts of my account A and account B do not match, if there is a difference, then where am I going to put that difference, the adjustment to the difference? So these three are the main points of my match types. We'll be looking as in what are match type, but this is just an overview for you. Then I'm going to define my data sources or delineate the data sources for the data input. Let's say I am performing a bank and cash reconciliation. So the data sources will be bank statement and my cash book. So these are the data sources. Then working with the transaction types, as in what are the transaction, what will be the transaction types, the way of your transactions. Defining the process of transaction matching. How am I going to match my transactions? What will be the rules? Which amount, if let's say my accounts have two types of amount, one paid, one unpaid, let's say for the time being, I'm taking an example, 5,000 in the total amount, 3,000 is paid, 2,000 is remaining. So I have got three amount section into my sheets, into my file, into my data sources or ERP system, or from wherever I am pulling out my data. So which amount is going to match against which amount of my subsystem? Two systems are here, subsystem and source system. So which amount of the source system is going to match against which amount of my subsystem? So this is, I am going to define it. And then I'll be creating formats for the purpose of transaction matching. Creating the formats, as in we have seen what are formats in the reconciliations compliance. Formats are actually pro forma in which you will be just like you have a pro forma of filling out an application, a very basic thing of filling out of applications or something. Here also we have a pro forma where we have source system, subsystem balance, adjustment tab, and these are the columns we define that create a format, and you just fill it into as per your data sources, your data informations and everything. After this, of course, there is one more part which is common to reconciliations, compliance and transaction matching, is to create a profile. Because at the end of the day, we have seen in ARCS, you create a profile where you have two data sources. You match your reconcile between these two data sources. Data sources, as in we have seen the bank and cash reconciliation. I'm really sorry for this disturbance. So my administrator shall have to perform these tasks so that the other users, the preparers, the reviewers, whoever the people who will be performing the reconciliation will it will be actually easing their work out, so that they can every month just prepare, reconcile and finish and close the reconciliation. So every month the only three tasks are to prepare, reconcile and to close my reconciliation. Now let us just understand what are the key concepts, what are the things that we'll be using. Match types means how the transaction matching process. Just a moment, I'm really sorry. Just a moment. Yes, I am sorry for this. Yes, so the key concepts that the things we'll be looking upon, the main jargons, if I use it that way, the jargons that we'll be using again and again, so that let us be comfortable with the jargons. Match types, I have already informed you that match types is the first step of my transaction matching module, and it actually determines the matching process, the process of matching of the transactions, the structure of the data to be matched, the rules that shall be used to match the transactions. All of these are into my match types. Now data sources, now when I am creating a match type, I do not have to create the match types again and again. Once they are created, I'll be using them multiple times for multiple reconciliations. If my data sources are almost in a similar way, I can use the same match type for as many reconciliation, as many transaction matchings that I want. Now data sources are the two input sources, the data where I'm going to import it from. Those are the data sources. Then coming down to my frequency, as in how many times am I going to match my transactions. I can match and balance it daily. I can match it daily and I'm going to perform the balancing at the end of my month. I can also match it daily and perform the balancing bi-monthly or fortnightly. uh, I can match and balance at month end also when I'm performing the reconciliation process. So the frequency can be set as per your organization policies, standards, your finance and accounting department's rules, strategies, how they want to perform this whole reconciliation, transaction matching, and everything. So it totally depends on your organization ways, rules, and policies. So this can be customized. Everything in here is can be customized totally. And then comes the main important, the main part of my transaction matching module is the matching rules. What are the rules? As in amount matches to amount, date matches to date. So these are the rules into my transaction matching module. Now coming is the workflow, as in for every account that will be reconciled, that is going to be reconciled, that is going for every account, every reconciliation transaction matters matching that is going to be performed. This is the workflow that it is going to happen. The first is the I'm going to import my data. Second, I'm going to run the auto match. When I'm running the auto match, it means that it is going to match by the set rules that we have defined at the time of creating a match type. So when I have created the match type, I might have provided two, three, four, as many infinite rules that I wanted to. I had created that on the basis, and on that criteria, it is going to match the transactions. Also, if I have provided a tolerance, as in, of course, when we are practically having accounts and performing accounting, there is a tolerance, as in variance that can arise between two accounts, maybe due to a human error of entry, manual entry error, picking up or invoicing details, or something due to any reason. There might be certain variance. So with when I'm creating a match rule, I also have the facility. I can provide a tolerance or a variance percentage, as in 5% tolerance in the amount is acceptable to me. So I can provide that 5% plus minus amount is can be tolerated, and hence on that basis it is not going to auto match the transaction. It is going to provide me that these are as per the rules that have been set. So as per the application, these are the matches that are suggested. Confirmed is that date matches exactly date, amount matches exact amount. So that is an confirmed match. Suggested is as per the tolerance limit that you that were set into the match types as per the application, these are a suggested matches. And when it also doesn't comes under the suggested match or a confirmed match, you can also manually match it, clicking the two on my two simultaneous windows. You can actually manually match it if you think that though the tolerance limit has crossed, but uh, uh, that is okay, the matching is I can match these two transactions, so you can manually match it also. So when we are actually dealing with the transaction matching and everything, we've seen what are the match types, what are the what are the data sources and everything. We need to clearly understand how is this going to work. So when I am creating a match type, there are four types of rules that are there. One is one-to-one match. Amount of 5,000 in account A and amount of 5,000 in account B matches exactly. So this is one-to-one. Many-to-one means amount of 5,000 in account A matches to 5 different entries of account B pertaining to the same invoice number. This can also happen. One to many, many to many. These are the kinds of rules that are supported into my transaction matching module. Sorry. So these are the rules that can be created when I am creating a match types. So, but all of these things, it is running within the application. But also when I am using the application, I shall know the base point, as in what are the rules and how it is going to evaluate the transactions that I'm updating or uploading into the application, how it is going to work. Of course, when you are using an application, it is artificial intelligence. You shall also know the ways of how does that artificial intelligence works. So we have just taken this example where a source system and a subsystem data has been provided. Source system and subsystem data has been provided to me. My source system contains date, invoice number, and an amount of the invoice. Subsystem contains date, invoice number, and amount of the invoice. So these are the two data sources or data input that I'll be using. Let's say into the system, I want to upload this into the system and then perform a transaction matching. So I have set the rules and everything, and it is going to give me an auto matched rules. The transactions have been matched. But in order to understand how are they going to match, because here, as you can see in my source system, date is 1st of May. Here in my subsystem is 2nd of May. Then here it is May 2nd, but the same invoice number for the same amount here is May 3rd. So how is it going to run into the application, process the data into the application, and provide me with an output? We are going to just look into that. So the first rule that I'll have set and I'll be using into the application also, my source invoice should match exactly to the subsystem invoice. So invoice is matching exactly. Of course, when I'm using a source system and subsystem, the invoice cannot change. Invoice number shall remain the same. So I have provided an exact match to it. Source system date, as I had informed you, there we have a facility of tolerance or a variance limits that I can define. So here the tolerance or the subsystem date and the source system date matches with tolerance of -1 to +2. So the date is going to match with a tolerance of -1 to +2. That means if my date is 1st of May, so the tolerance limit, the upper limit, the lower limit that has been set is 30th of April, and the higher limit that has been set is 3rd of May. So any date between these two dates is going to match because I have provided a tolerance limit to it. And of course, the I have used where my source system account shall match exactly to my subsystem amount. And also it will be a balancing attribute because my whole base of reconciliation transaction matching depends on my amount. So this is my balancing attribute. Balancing attribute as in when with this is for transaction matching the date, invoices, and everything. But balancing attribute is used for my reconciliation compliance, which is going to tell me that this is the difference between the amounts of the source system and subsystem. So balancing attribute is that attribute, like here the amount, which is going to be taken up by my reconciliations compliance. Now, what is the order of evaluation? Order of evaluation, which is first one match, first match wins and the lowest transaction ID. Now, what is first match wins and lowest transaction ID? Lowest transaction ID when I am uploading the transactions into the system. From a, let's say I am using a flat file, a CSV flat file, which I am using to upload the transactions and the data into my ARCS application. So at the time of upload, when I am uploading the transactions from my flat file to ARCS application gives a unique ID to every transaction that has been uploaded. In my spreadsheet, it would have been numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but a unique ID to every transaction 1, transaction 2, something is given when I am uploading it to my ARCS application. So lowest ID, of course, will be the one that is the first loaded transaction. So that means the transaction that has the lowest ID, because it was loaded first, will be given the priority, and it is going to be matched first, and then the second, the third. So it is in ascending order. And the first one matches wins means transactions are actually evaluated on the basis of its presence in the database. That means the first transaction that satisfies the conditions, the rules that have been set into your match types, is going to be selected first for the purpose of my transaction matching process. So the first transaction that matches is going to be matched first. And when am I going, from where am I going to start? From the lowest transaction ID. This is how it is evaluated into the system. So as you can see, the date invoice, these are how my transactions have actually taken place, or rather transaction matching has taken place, where date has been matched to the date with a tolerance limit that we have set, and that is the reason I've just highlighted, actually bold my fonts. So May 1 matches to May 2 because it is within the tolerance limit. The reason the invoice number and the amount is matching. May 2 matches to May 3, my invoice number amount is matching and the tolerance limit is satisfied. Again, May 3 matches to May 4, within the tolerance limit, invoice number and amount of invoice matches exactly. So this is how the whole transaction matching process is run within the application, and this is how a process data actually comes to us. So when I'm looking this into my application, Oracle application, it is going to provide me with all no unmatched transactions found. So now we have looked upon the overview from this part. Let us just go to my application. Just a moment. Yes, so this is my Oracle application. I hope it is everyone is able to view it. If in case it is not visible, do inform me. I have moved from my presentation to my Oracle application. So this is my Oracle application home, where we have seen the reconciliations compliance tab card, sorry, on the in the past session. And today we are focusing on my transaction matching, that is the matching card on my application. So let us just understand first what are actually match types before going to my profile periods configuration, because we've seen those in in the past sessions. So as you can see, these are the match types that have been created: intercompany, bank, clearing accounts, general ledger point of sales, general ledger bank, point of sales to cash card. So these are the match types that have been created here. Today we are just focusing on intercompany. The reason intercompany is something that is basic and usual to most of the companies nowadays. Any intercompany transaction that is happening, let's say a basic sale and purchase happens within the subsidiaries of a company or a parent subsidiary relation, or any intercompany or two units of the same company or something. So these we'll be looking upon the intercompany match types. So this is match types. The first tab of my match types is my properties, where I provide a ID to my match type, the name, any description, instruction for the person who is preparing the match types and everything. So when I am preparing it, the status is shown as pending, and once I have prepared all the tabs, I am going to approve it. If there is a problem in your approval, it is going to show me a message, or else it is going to change the status from pending to approved. I'll just show it to you. As you can see, this is the profile. This is a match type that someone might be creating on the cloud application. So this is pending, rest all are approved. The second is the source. Second tab is my data sources. So here I'm going to define my data sources. Defining the data sources means providing a name to your data source, specifying it whether it is a source system or a subsystem, and providing data source attributes. Now data source or attributes are basically the columns of your spreadsheet or your Excel sheets, your ERP system, the way it is pulled out. So the columns that you have, like date, amount, invoice number, remaining, unpaid, customer ID, whatever, it totally depends on your application. So data sources attributes are basically the columns of your spreadsheet. I've just put it into the most simplest way I could. So every data source attribute that you are putting into, you have to give it whether it is a key attribute. Required means when I'm uploading the file, when I'm uploading my when I'm importing the data into my ARCS application, attributes that have been ticked required, that means without that it is not going to upload my file into the system, because these are the required ones. When an administrator provides the attribute as a required one, that means it is required for the purpose of matching or for the purpose of understanding the whole transaction, and hence it has been identified as required. We'll also view it how it is done. So here ID, you provide a ID, the name, you provide a name to it. Here the ID can be date, the name can be accounting date, invoice date, depending on the data source you're using, and the spreadsheet that you're uploading, the ERP system names that you have into your systems. Under type you can have various, it is a list actually. I'll just change the status to pending. so that we'll be able to see it. So as you can see here, from the type you have text, date, number. This is a list down where you can specify whether it is a date format, whether it is a text, whether it is a number or integer, a list of balance sheet, income statement list, yes or no, that you have to specify. I mean, the into your Excel spreadsheet, since we are using just the flat file today. So in your spreadsheets, you the column says a yes or no. These are what the types are. So these are the attributes where date, invoice, and the invoice amount and the payment date are required into the files that I am going to, or that the person is going to, your organization shall be uploading into the ARCS application. The rest are the other columns that, though not required, but still are present into your file application, sorry, into your file, and hence they have been put up here into the application. This is totally customizable. You can customize it depending on the columns that are present into your organization's chart. You can have here, there are 8, 10 attributes. You can have 4, 5 attributes also. It totally depends on you. And this is my AR, that is the accounts receivable. So accounts receivable, the way of maintaining the accounts receivable in the organization is different. Hence, it has got 8 attributes. Of course, it is customizable. So you can have 4, 5, 3, 2, depending on the way you maintain your accounts. And as you can see, these are the balancing attributes. Balancing attribute, I'd already informed, is for the purpose of my reconciliations compliance software. These balancing attributes, in both of these, amount is my balancing attribute that is used, and hence uh, the balancing attribute is going to be used for the purpose of my reconciliations compliance software balance comparison. These are the transaction types, that is the adjustment and the support. Before coming to the transaction types, let us just look into the match process, and then we'll come down to transaction types. So the match process defined as intercompany. You can give your own name here. This is customizable. You have to enter 25 of your characteristics. You can give an ID of your own depending on your organization. Data sources are 2. Source system and subsystem is automatically picked because we have defined in the data sources which of them is a subsystem and which of them is a source system. Now, default attribute mapping is which is the default character, which is the default column that is used to be that will be used for the purpose of matching. Because when you have to match something, you have to take a base. So default attribute mapping is what is the base that you will be using. So here, amount and date that have been used. Amount is used for balancing, of course. Date is not used for balancing. And the default tolerance limit into my default attribute, not under the rules. Default attribute and rules are two different things. Under the default attribute, I do not have any tolerance limit. I do not agree to any tolerance limit into the default attribute mapping. So date and amount, you can only have amount also. You can you can include invoice number also into it. So it totally depends the way you want to match it. More default attributes. This is my personal way of looking into things. There is not something defined anyway, but more the attributes that you have under default mapping, it makes the whole transaction matching process more rigid. The flexibility is lost, but it totally depends on your organization, the way you want to perform your transaction matching. I prefer it that it shall be flexible so that less time, efficiency and effectiveness is increased and the time is decreased. So totally depends, but of course it's your call on the way you want to work with it. So now these are the rules. These properties are, this is the default way, but rules that let us look at to the rules one by one. Rules provide as in what kind of rule you want to use. So the rule name is R1. You can give whatever name you want to give a description to it. And as I was saying, there are different rule types that are provided. One to one amount of account A and account B. Here, accounts payable and accounts receivables matches one to one. So every amount has a simultaneous counter amount into my accounts receivables. This is how a rule type is. One amount, one to many means one amount of my accounts payable is going to match with two three entries, two three transaction into my accounts receivables book. Many to one, many transaction, many amounts, many invoices of my accounts payable is going to match with one transaction, one entry of my accounts receivable. Many to many, 4 5 transactions of accounts payable can match to 3 4 transactions of my accounts receivables. So this is a many to many rule type. Here we have used one to one rule type. And match status is confirmed. Confirmed as in it is not going to ask me for a confirmed match. It is going to provide me when I'm going to run the auto match rule. So this match status is confirmed. So this match status is actually confirmed. That is, it is not going to provide me with a suggested match where I will have to confirm it. Suggested match is confirmed match means confirmed match gets confirmed matches, and it is done when an auto match rule is run from the application, from the administrator, preparer, reviewer's point of view. When you run the auto match rule, all the confirmed matches are matched upon, and they are eliminated from the transactions that are unmatched or suggested or so on. So all these are confirmed. This is a confirmed match. Confirmed match means my amount of the accounts receivable matches exactly the amounts payable amount, and the invoice number is going to match exactly. Now we had taken invoice and invoice number and amount into the past rule. Here we have taken amount and date. My amount is matching exactly and the date is also matching exactly. So with when I am running an auto run rule, on the basis of these two rules, it is going to provide me with a confirmed match. Let us also take an example of suggested match. Now this is a suggested match. It is going to suggest me, and it is up to me whether I have to confirm it or discard it. So here the amount is matching with a tolerance of $100 minus plus, that is minus $100 to plus $100 to the amount of my accounts payable. So the amount difference can rise from minus $100 to plus $100. Any amount, any variance between the two amounts within this limit of minus 100 to plus 100 is acceptable. And since it is acceptable, it is going to provide me with a suggested match, and it is on to me whether I need to confirm it or I need to discard it and let it remain unmatched. But the second counterpart of my rule is that the invoice number should match exactly. Invoice number is matching exactly, and there is a difference of $100 into the amount, then it is going to provide me with a suggested match. Had I not put the invoice number, then all the amounts within this limit, it would have provided me with that. So I have made the rule whole more precise, where invoice is matching but the amount has got a variance or a tolerance. Now we have seen the properties, rules, the match process. Now let us come to our transaction types. Now transaction types means actually when I am performing a matching, of course it is going to provide me with the variance. We've seen that there may be a difference of minus $100 to plus $100 into my amounts. Now since when there is a difference, of course when I'm confirming the suggested match, I will have to account for that minus any amount between minus 100 to plus 100. So where am I going to put it? And for that reason, I have provided an adjustment tab to the preparer and the reviewer. So I have provided three or four basic ways due to which a discrepancy, a variance can arise. And here, a coding error, let's say the code in which you put the product, there is a coding error due to which taxation difference has arisen and due to which a variance has arisen. So you can put that amount of, let's say there is a difference of $50, so it is within the variance limit. So that $50 amount is going to be classified under this adjustment. Invoice dispute, any invoice number error or something might have happened due to which amount discrepancy or difference into the amount that has come. A currency flux where due to inter-country transactions, subsidiaries within of a sorry a pair of an MNC, two units of an MNC, if they are transacting, there might be a currency flux. And if the discrepancy, the difference is not falling in any of the three, other tab has been provided where the preparer is going to provide with a valid explanation as in why is this discrepancy arising. A support means any specific like in default support is the timing, the timing difference, let's say the date due on which it was received and paid and everything, that a might be a difference, the exchange rate differences, timing differences that could arise. So this is a support that has been provided under adjustment. If you have a currency flux, you can add a supporting of timing, that is the exchange rate difference or something like that. So these were the tabs of my match type. I'll just change the status to approved. Yes, so these was my match types. Now today, as I have told you, we'll be just looking upon our intercompany I suppose there is a connection error. Just please provide me with a moment. Yes. Yes, so there was some connection or something, network error. Yes, so I'll just remove this. Now see, this is the method that we usually that we use for transaction matching. I suppose before going to our coming to our profiles, uh, should I get the format first or profile? Let us just take the profiles so that we'll be able to understand the specific profile that we are taking today only. So yes, this is the profile that we'll be using, intercompany AR to AP of the unit number 16 and 36. So these are the two entity or the units of the company which had transacted in the month, and this is the profile that have been prepared for the purpose of my transaction matching along with the reconciliations compliance. The balance sheet process is used. Risk rating depends on the organization, account type, intercompany receivables, normal balance, and format that has been used is transaction matching intercompany. Method is automatically taken from your format. So this is the profile that we have created. The whole profile, all the tabs of my profile and everything we've seen in the reconciliations compliance session. So these are the basics of my profile that we had seen. Let us move to our configuration, the format that we have used, which is transaction matching intercompany. So now, as you can see, the method that is used is balance comparison with transaction matching. The method when I am creating any format, let us just take the method as you can see here. So these are the 6 type of methods that are provided under ARCS from which we can choose. Account analysis, balance comparison, variance analysis only. All these 3 are when we are using my reconciliations compliance, because it is going to provide me the total difference, the total unexplained differences, the balances, and unexplained balances, and the explanation for those, which we've seen in my in our reconciliations compliance session. Now, account analysis with transaction matching, balance comparison with transaction matching, and transaction matching only. These three are the methods that are used when we are dealing with transaction matching. Now, today we are using balance comparison with transaction matching. Balance comparison with transaction matching means I am going to match the transactions with my transaction matching card, and I am also going to perform a reconciliation for that particular profile with uh, in my reconciliations compliance. So it is going to compare the balances too. So we were here. Sorry. Match type. We have seen the match type. We have used intercompany match type. We have just seen the intercompany match type in our past tab of match types. Now the source system, subsystem, everything we have defined into our match types, which is accounts receivables and accounts payable. I do not want to hide these. Let us just make certain changes into my reconciliations format. So here what we are seeing out here, this is a part of my reconciliations compliance. This is how my reconciliations compliance tab, the whole reconciliations compliance chart dashboard is going to appear for this particular formatted reconciliations profile. This is specifically for my reconciliations compliance. The system adjustment, what are the things that I'll be uploading into my system adjustment, subsystem adjustment, what are the informations that the preparer will have to provide to the reviewer for the purpose of reviewing of the reconciliation. So these are the attributes that a preparer is going to be uh, defining. The transaction date, description, unexplained balance, what is the reason for that, the invoice that is not matching, and everything, whatever is the difference reason. So we have seen the format also. Sorry, we have seen the profile here that we will be using. This is the profile. Now let us just go to the periods. I need to perform the reconciliation for April 2019, which is already open, so I do not have to open the reconciliations period from here. Here I'm just going to create a reconciliation for this whole profile for the period of April 2019. Since I was working, I might have opened the reconciliation here. I do not remember had I deleted I had deleted the reconciliation, so it has successfully copied. So my reconciliation profile has been copied. That means it has been, now it is open for the purpose of reconciliation. Let us just also look at the Excel sheets that we'll be using. So this is my Excel sheet for accounts payable that I'll be using. This is the flat file that I'll be using, as you can see, where I have the reconciliation ID for all the trans. I have just provided a reconciliation ID tab along with my flat file. This is the information that has been extracted from my systems. I pulled it out from my ERP system, and this is the reconciliation ID on which we need to extract. We need to just pull the data and date. It contains the invoice number, it contains the amount and the payment date. This is my accounts payable. And this is my accounts receivables file that I'll be uploading. It contains date, invoice, and amount. So I've just made a simple profile of all the attributes that were required for the purpose of uploading my file. I haven't put all those attributes under the data sources. I've just used only those inputs which are required for the purpose of uploading the files, so as to just minimize the whole time structure and everything. Going back to my application, from the jobs tab, I am going to import my data to that particular profile. Now, as you can see, I had uploaded this file just minutes ago before this session. So I'll just let you know how I had done it, because I'm not going to upload it. It is going to take quite a lot of time, because there are certain network issues here. So I'm not taking that risk. So here I have the match type, that is the intercompany match type that we had seen. So here I am going to select the match type and not the profile. I do not need to select the profile. I am going to select the match type. The reason match types have been given here, because the data sources have been defined in the match type. Profile is profile, and the formats are using a single match type is used in hundreds of profiles and hundreds of formats. So it is better that match types are given, because it has the data sources, the attributes, match rules, and everything. So now you have selected the intercompany match type. It is going to match the rule and run the whole process as per that particular specified match rules and everything. Auto run, it depends on you. I had selected yes. Data formats are provided here. There are various data sources, date formats rather, the date formats, the way your data is customized in the date formats customized into your data files. So these are the date formats that are provided. You can choose any one of them depending on the date format that is used into the file that you're uploading. So this is the format that is there in my file that I'll be uploading, or that I had uploaded. Uh, so from here, I had chosen this accounts payable file that we've just seen. This is my accounts receivables file, and I would submit it, and it would have shown. I'm not again doing it because it is going to take time, and I had just uploaded the same file and everything into my match types before only. So this is how I'm going to submit it, and the job shall be successfully submitted, and it is going to show here. As you can see, I had succeeded. Had there been an error, this, as you can see, someone had uploaded it and it had provided an error. With my error, I can, this was for certain profile, they might have certain match type, they might have imported the data. So as you can see, there are logs that are available, and you can see what is the error from the log file for that particular file. Now here there are two sources, cash card and point of sales. So under the point of sales file that somebody might have imported, there is an error, and there is a success for the cash card file that they had uploaded. So you can go through the error, what is it in from your log files. Here we had succeeded. Now when I have done all of these things from here, from my applications card, I'm going to go to my matching card, that is my for the purpose of transaction matching. Now, as you can see, this is my profile that I had uploaded my files for, and everything I was prepared for it. So I had uploaded this profile here. When I'm opening it, this is the overview that it has provided. I will have to change the date. Yes, so this is the, I have changed the date because we had uploaded it for the purpose for the period of April. Yes, so there was no balances up till April into this profile. Now we have uploaded the balances from the file that we have just seen. As you can see that there is an unmatched balance. It is showing an unmatched balance. And this overview, this dashboard is clearly telling me that there is no unmatched as in proper unmatched difference. There is a difference, but a suggested match has been provided by my ARCS application. So I do not have to even look into that. A suggested match has been provided to me for the purpose of confirming or discarding. And supported matches that we have seen, the supported the adjustments. So a suggested match has been provided to me. Let us just see here first. These are the this is my accounts receivable and accounts payable. It is showing no unmatched transaction. The reason being we had selected auto run, that is use the auto match rules. So it had matched the transaction between the two systems. This tab will help me in showing me what are the confirmed matches and what are the suggested matches. Now, as you can see, match, this is the match ID that has been provided. I can click on the match ID. So this was my transaction ID, the date, invoice number. This was the amount into my accounts receivable. And this is the amount, invoice and date into my accounts payable. And the amount is matching exactly, invoice is matching exactly, date is matching exactly. And hence it has given a confirmed match. The rule name is also provided, one to one exact match on invoice and amount. So this is the rule that has been used, that is invoice and amount rule that we had seen has been used for the purpose of automatically matching the transactions. The second tab tells us the suggested matches, the matches on the rules that we had provided. On those basis it is going to provide us with a suggested match. Now as you can see, rule 3 that we had provided, it had exact match on invoice and a variance in the amount that we had seen, minus 100 to plus 100. This is that variance in the amount, but exact match on the invoice rule that has been used, and on that basis it has given me a suggested match. This is the $80 difference that was arising into the invoice number. The invoice number is matching, the date is matching, but there is a difference of $80 into my amount, and hence it has provided me under the suggested matches. That means with adjustment. Now let's say on findings and everything, I got to know that the amount of the invoice was actually 8,000. There was a human error in entering of $80. So I'm going to provide an adjustment into the accounts receivables book because this is where the amount is in excess. Accounting date for, let's say, today. Type I can suggest, I can select, we had provided coding error, invoice dispute, currency flux, others. So here I am just putting the adjustment type as other. ID is my invoice number. This is the ID, it has already taken, that is invoice number plus date. Any description I can put, like um, a very basic description I have provided. Category you can select, ledger ID, debit account, credit account when you are passing, because you will be passing a journal entry for this 80 rupees adjustment. So which will be your debiting account, which will be your crediting account. Journal entry, source EPM transaction matching, entity, it was 16, currency code USD. Any comments you want to leave for the reviewer, you can post a comment also at this was the reason due to which there was a wrong entry into the amount and everything, and you can just confirm it. Now you have confirmed. Let us go back to my dashboard. here. Now with adjustment, there is one entry with adjustment. The rest, now there are no unmatched transactions. With adjustment, there is one. There are no unmatched transactions over here. With adjustment, I had matched one transaction. Now when I close it here, I can see now there are no unmatched transactions. The reason for matching these using this transaction matching, we had seen that it was just an $80 rupee $80 difference that arised into my transactions of the two books. Had there been lakhs on thousands of transactions, 50,000, 1 lakh transactions, a million of transactions had there be, and $80 or 10,000 or $20,000, when we are dealing with millions and trillions and billions, that small amount could give me a discrepancy of variance. It is not going to let me reconcile my books. So with this transaction matching module, within minutes, just in a click, I only need to put in time at the time of configuration of my ARCS application. The transaction matching module, the match type configuration, when I have to do it, only that time I will have to put in efforts and everything. After that, I just have to upload it, import the transactions, run the auto match rules, confirm the suggested matches or discard them, and my matching is done. It is visible to me that these are the transactions due to which there is a variance, a discrepancy is arising. I can immediately find the reason behind my unmatched transaction, or my amount error, invoice error, whatever. So or the date error, you can have various kinds of error into your transactions. So I have got those transactions within just a mouse click, which are not matching the reasons, and how to validate them after the adjustments. So this is how my whole transaction matching module, or rather transaction matching, has helping me in the purpose of my reconciliation close, and automating it and actually downsizing my closure process. So this was how our transaction matching module overview that we had gone through. In case of any questions, of course, you